What is going on, everybody? I am happy to announce that I finally brought red white to a new type, and I topped with it. So I got second place. I've done two new types this season. Oh, there's the kamille, by the way. I've done two new types this season, and both times I did Xeon aggro, and I didn't make top cut. I was gonna play red white both times, but kind of chickened out, I guess. I feel like this deck can have some consistency issues, and that's its main weakness, I would say. I've probably built this deck like 20 different ways and different kind of ideas, and reworking it over and over and again. And I'm pretty happy with where it is now. I'm still not 100%, but I think this is one of the harder decks to build, and there's a lot of ways you can go about. I like my recent changes to it, and we'll go ahead and get into it. But yeah, I probably should have been playing this the whole time, but here we are. So starting off with blockers, we got 4 Rick Doms, we got 4 Lifrith, and then we got 2 Striker Pack. And I know this is a command card, but it's a blocker. Y'all get it. So with this iteration of the build, I've decided to go as low as I think possible, really. Arguably, you could cut more, sure, but I decided to go real low on blockers. Because this deck isn't like, it doesn't want to stall out. It's not waiting for wing 0 or nothing, Like, it has other plays. It wants to start getting active on turn 5, turn 6, turn 7, So, but in that you want to be ramping and snowballing, not ramping. And ramping's not in the sense of like how Wing does, with its cards, but ramping it in the snowball effect of getting pressure out on the board. So I decided to go, like I said, fairly low on blockers. That's all my whole blocker package. With that, I did make room for 2 baby Kshatriyas. I think this is it's not a make or break card, but it's a fine addition. I actually did one time today get this off with full frontal and was able to play that for free, which was kind of cool. And it was on turn 6, so that was a lot of pressure. But also it does give you options, like especially you're going aggro and like you on turn 4 you have to play this with Marita to clear up some stuff. It gives you some extra options, gives you some trading tools, and then kind of just another body to be kind of aggro with. And in general with this deck, you want to be more aggro than what you typically think of with a blocker deck. You're playing blockers, yes, but like if I play Rick Diaz on turn 3 or 2 or whatever, depending on the EX resource. If I can, I'm cracking the shield with that. I'm doing what I can. I'm taking trades and using these somewhat aggressively. There are games and times where I'm just like play a blocker pass, for my first few turns. But try to be more aggro with this list. So anyway, the 2 baby Kshatriyas, and then we got 4 big Kshatriyas. And I had played around with versions again where there's only 3 of these. And I just think this is an incredible card, especially with as much aggro as there is right now. This card puts in a ton of work. It definitely my matchups, by the way, I'm probably gonna mess up the order a little bit. Let's see. My first one was Wing, then I think it was blue purple, I think, and then Xeon. Aggro, and then this one, Kshatriya, came in so clutch in that match. He had like 4 dudes on board, and I had one guy, I can't remember who it was, but I had Kshatriya in hand, and I drew Marita for turn, and because I had Haman as well, and it's like, well, you can still play Haman with this, and it's like I'll be able to clear up most of his board, but I drew Marita. It's like, no, I can clear up the whole board. We're good to go. All right. Then we're playing 4 Sinanjus. I see a lot of lists, like they might run 2, and I think this is the best card in the deck. Like, I want him out as soon as possible. Like I said, there was one on turn 6. I got to play him, link him with full frontal, drop a Kshatriya. That was awesome. That felt really, really good. It almost made me be like, can I cut a blocker for another one of these? But this card is incredible. I need to pick up. Unfortunately, I've been like slowly picking these up, the alts, and I need one more. And now he shot up to like $90. So I don't know. I don't want to pay that much for him. And I also think that's kind of a little bit of people trying to juice and overinflate the price. Because he's good, but like jumping from like $40 to $90 is crazy. But anyway, this card is just ridiculous. Like it is such a threat, especially if you get that full frontal on it. He's got 6 health, and that made some matchups like awkward because it's like, well, how am I going to trade into that? How many things do I have to trade? What value am I, putting out? He's just incredible. And then we have 3 qubeley, and this card is very, very strong, but it's the most expensive card in your deck level wise, and I think 3 is a really solid place for it. 4 and 4 and 3 so far has been where I'm liking it the best. What's awesome about this, and I guess we're getting ready to get into pilots right now. So I'll go ahead and I'll put qubeley down here. So we play 4 Maritas, and Marita obviously links with either of the Kshatriyas. It'll activate the high maneuver on here, but he doesn't link, and then it can activate the qubeleys when he swings, deal damage effect. With both of these, you don't get Marita's effects, obviously, but there is synergy, and this is why I like this version of the red-white. I know there's other versions and stuff like that. This, in my opinion, is the strongest because of the synergy of these 3 units, and they're able to, all their pilots are able to at least somewhat work with each other. So we got 4 Marita. And then we got 4 Haman, which, there's only 3 qubeley, but Haman is just ridiculous. On a qubeley, incredible, obviously. On a kshatriya, really, really strong. On a sinanju, really, really strong. If you played sinanju the turn before, and then you hit Haman onto it, you can blow up a Rick Diaz for free. There's just lots of different things you can do. Haman is an incredible card, and like I said, obviously you want a Marita when you have a kshatriya, but sometimes it doesn't align, and you have to do what you have to do. And when you can put a Haman on there and still ping out 3 damage, it feels really, really good. So we got that, and then we just play the 2 full frontals. You want pilots like all the time. All these guys need pilots, and 10 pilots feels really good for me. I don't think I'd up it anymore. Unless like we lived in a world, if there was a world where there was like a kshatriya, but it was a blocker or something, it's like, okay, it would be a whole different ball game. We'd be playing, but there's nothing really worth getting out with full frontal. You don't hold it for the little kshatriyas to go in your hand. You don't save these to play them free for later. If it happens, it happens. If not, you get that link, you get to attack immediately, and it feels really good if you do that. But a lot of times you just have to set sinanju up and then do something with them the next turn. We have 4 overflowing affections. I only got 1 pretty one, unfortunately. I need to work on it. I've never really been a white player, so it wasn't a card that I had. I just picked that up on Black Friday. I played around with 3, just trying out different things, but I think you need 4. You gotta have 4. This card, it's a great draw card. It helps you figure out, dig a little bit deeper, figure out what you need, and I'm still kind of learning the best times to play it, because you don't want to just play it whenever you can. You always want to play it with a purpose of, I'm looking, early game, maybe I need a blocker, maybe I got some big units in my hand, and I'm looking to see like what pilots are coming up, and so what pilots do I draw, and kind of figure out what plays I'll be making and stuff like that. So like you're always looking for something with overflowing, and so you don't want to play it without a goal and without kind of knowing what you're going to discard. You don't necessarily, sometimes you need to play it and it's like you're going to discard something that you want to discard. A lot of times you want to keep everything. That's the way it is. But yeah, I think 4 is a must-have at this point. And then I also believe that 4 close combat is a must-have. And we'll kind of get in. We'll just go through all this here real quick, and then we'll get into my philosophy behind all this. So we also play 4 Battle of Aces. Also need to pick up hollows on those. And I'm currently running 3 mining asteroids and then 2 Raylula, or however you say that. So this is the full list. And with it, you might notice there is a lot of burst cards. In fact, there are 25 burst cards. Half my deck all have burst. And I think that's the greatest strength of red-white, is you have such high probability of there being really good things in your shields that this deck has the best shields in the game by far. And it's really, really strong at being able to slow down. Now, granted, 10 of them are pilots. But, like, I mean, I had one game where... That's another thing. With this deck, there's a lot of attacks I will let go through. If I'm like, I'll deal with that unit later. I don't really care. Let them attack, pop a shield. And, like, there was one game I let 2 attacks go through and I got 2 pilots. And I'm like, I just plus 2'd. I'm in such a great position because with any game, you're not dead until you're dead. And I know that sounds silly and that's stupid, but it's philosophy that I kind of took from back in the day, like a decade ago. I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Competitively, and there was a card called Upstart Goblin. And if you don't know about that game, instead of shields, you have life points. You have 8,000 life points, okay? And so Upstart Goblin was a card that you would pay 1,000 life points to draw a card. And a lot of people were like, well, that's terrible. That's so expensive, And then eventually, me and a lot of the other people that we were playing with, we were like, it doesn't matter how many life points you lose. You can lose 7,999 life points, and it's okay as long as you have 1. As long as there's still something, and if you don't die, then you win. And again, it sounds stupid. It's like, well, of course that's how that works. But it doesn't, because there was other cards too. It was like pay half your life points to negate an effect and stuff like that. And so I kind of keep the same philosophy. It's like, it doesn't matter if they're attacking into my shields. If I'm getting pilots, if I'm getting, these burst effects and destroying their units and gaining advantage that way, then I'm a step ahead of them. And so it's worth paying your life as long as you know you're not going to die. And so, like, against my Xeon aggro, it was a close game, don't get me wrong. Had a couple cards win a little differently. Maybe that player would have got it. But there's certain times when you let attacks go through, because, again, you have a 50% chance in your shields that it's going to be a burst. And that can just net you so much advantage, especially earlier on. Obviously, like Xeon aggro, if they're snowballing, getting a bunch of units out, you need to stop what you can and start negating and do whatever. Be mindful, though, taking important value trades and doing things as smart as you can. But you're just able to just profit whenever you're getting attacked about 50% of the time. So that's one way I do try to play this deck, is I don't try to play too overprotective of my shields, because when shields are bad, it is when your opponent is lined up with a full board and then they attack with everything. You got 4 shields left or whatever, and a close combat might be able to take out 1, but it doesn't matter or whatever, So, like, when they only have 2 or 3 guys out, it's like, yeah, let them hit a shield. It's fine. It's not a big deal. Hit 2 shields. That's fine. Save, and you might have a blocker out, and they attack with the first 2 guys. They still got another guy, and then so you have that blocker, and they're not going to attack. That's fine. It doesn't matter. You're able to then initiate value trades and do different things. With that being said, I know I'm rambling. That's a mouthful, but I do think. I do have very specific philosophies with how I try to play this deck. One thing that the game that I lost, which was against what's his name, Epion, which really, it was a very, very close game, And had I seen one more base, I seen one mining asteroid. Had I seen any other base, I would have been fine that game, whether in shields or if I'd been able to draw it. So that was really unfortunate. I had 2 shields left, and I was just praying. I was like, just one of them be a shield. One of them be a shield, and it's all good. Or a base, I mean. One of my shields be a base, and it's all good to go. And we did not get there. And going into this, I kind of wanted 6 bases anyway, but I just don't know what to cut. Let me put this guy back here. He's not in the deck, obviously. I don't know. I really like everything that's in here. It'd be a very tough call for me to figure out what to go. Oh, and by the way, another thing with Strike, I didn't mention on Striker Pack, a lot of people will run 3 or 4. I don't like it because, again, you're trying to be aggro as much as possible. And sometimes being aggro in this deck is just attacking with a sinanju every turn, or something like that, until you can get some other things going. But you're just trying to push momentum as much as possible. And with Striker Pack, if you have a token out already, then you have one in your hand. It's a dead card. It's useless. And so, like, I just don't want to see it very much. It's a great card. It does cool things, but I just don't want. I don't want to get clogged up on it. But I think that's it. If you have any questions, let me know. If you have an idea of what to cut for another base, let me know. But I'm pretty happy with everything here. I know a lot of people will tell me to cut down on Battle of Aces. I disagree wholeheartedly, especially like in the aggro match. You have 8 chances to deal 2 damage, from your shields. And because people will be like, oh, it's not that good against aggro because they're weak and they're not damaged or whatever. And it's like, yeah, but if it's in your shields, that's just that takes out a whole unit. I like this very, very much. I stand by this 100%. Some people don't like Ray Lula, but I think this card is super sweet as well. Again, today somebody played a Gundam. He didn't have a link to him, but I was able to play a Ray Lula and then Battle of Aces, and it's just like, yeah, I mean, that threat's gone. Gave me a base. I got to draw off Ray Lula, and I think this card's very sweet. This card's boring to me, but I mean, I can't deny 6 health is pretty good, and it helped me out today for sure. So that is all my rambling. I think I'm happy to get this. I will be doing, I think, 2 more Newtypes. So if I can win one, cool. Not that big of a deal. My main thing is next set, because I need the Hamans. I want a play set of the Hamans so badly. I think that card will end up being pretty expensive because, like, nobody really plays Soletta, a little bit, but not really. Nobody plays Kamille, but Haman is going to be the first one. It's like actually, and currently right now, definitely seeing a lot, a significant amount of play, we'll say. And also, it's a gorgeous card. It's absolutely beautiful. So that is my deck list. I'm happy that I was able to make it to the one today, and then I was able to get second. So I got another one on Tuesday, and maybe we'll be talking again then. All right, best of luck to everybody out there with how many ever Newtypes you got left, and take it easy.